The following broadcast may contain explicit language and adult themes. Viewer discretion is advised. The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the hosts, talent, and guests, and do not reflect the opinions, views, and standards of Pyro Media Enterprises, affiliates, subsidiaries, or its members.
Oh my God. Hey y'all. Woo! Friday Junior. Y'all know how much I love Friday Junior. It is Thursday, the second Thursday of June. Hello, hello. I am Nicole Vick, soon to be what would you call that? I don't even know. But anyway, in about a month, I will be done with my proposal defense for my dissertation. So I'll be technically a candidate, a doctoral candidate. And then this time next year, I'll be done with school. And then I'll be Dr. Vick. And literally, I'll probably get over this at some point, but literally everybody must call me Dr. Vick for at least a month. Everybody. Even Andrea, even Mew Mew the cat. If she's hungry, if she can't say Dr. Vick Mew, I can't. I don't. Who are you? Who? Huh? So I'm excited. We're gonna have a great show this evening. Every second Thursday we go live, and actually, to be honest, every Thursday I could go live if I wanted to, but this has kind of been traditionally the time that we go live. I got a new background. Well, actually, it's not a new background. I just changed the orientation of where I sit. I got my Crenshaw Slauson sign in the back. I got my Lux and Noir candles. I said blowing, burning, smelling good. I mixed them, so I have the lavender blanket one, and I think this is the spa one burning. Product placement. Gotta support the brand. So there's that. And it looks so pretty, like, yes, atmosphere. Anyway, we're going to have a fabulous time. I think I said that already, but just, I'm just repeating myself because we are finna have a fabulous time. I have an amazing guest, bringing back Dr. Nurse, and we're going to have a good time. So before we bring her on, we ain't going to bring her on just yet. I want to remind you all that something I said last month, that one of the most important things a person has is control over their own body, period, point blank. Okay, period. Unfortunately, we have kind of walked into a space, and I don't even know if it's recently. I think there's always been this sort of this line we've walked where this isn't really true for everybody, and women especially are having their choices regulated in a way that is literally dangerous. Okay. So we're going to go into some thought-provoking conversation, adding on to what we talked about last month around the issue of abortion access, and some insightful convo, because we were realizing that there's some tangents that we can kind of draw, some streets and lanes we can go down around these issues that are also really important. So not even just about abortion, we can talk about reproductive health and reproductive justice in a broader sense as well. So let's now bring on my girl, Dr. Nurse Jameelah.
Hey,
How you doing? How you doing?
I'm good, girl. Summoning my inner Wendy Williams, I guess.
I know. I was like, hello. You have a nice shirt on that says, what did it say?
It says, let me move my camera down a little. Black Fathers Matter. I've had this shirt for a long time, and I thought it was,
Appropriate.
June and Father's Day is coming up, so I felt like this was a good, time to wear it. And because of what we're going to be talking about, I want men to know that they are involved in this conversation and that their voice matters, and we need their support.
Yes. And before we even get into that, it is June. There's some important things about June. You mentioned Father's Day, Juneteenth, of course. You got your Juneteenth t-shirt? I need one.
I need one too.
Okay, let me tell you where to get one. See, this is I'm gonna do all product placement today. So Luxor Noir candles right there. This is a black-owned kimono, high IQ style. But for the June t-shirts, my girl Gia from Mahogany Box, she has t-shirts, and I think she sells them in a store in the Crenshaw Mall. Maybe that's how we have our get together. We go to the Crenshaw Mall and buy our Juneteenth t-shirt.
Let's do it, because who knows what's going on with Crenshaw Mall. I won't say nothing, but we might need to have a last hurrah.
And then, like, what happened? And then what happened was it got sold, and then, like, I don't know. I don't know. But yes, but we can go support, because there's at least 2 black-owned stores in there.
Okay.
And I can't think of the name of the one that I'm referring to, but she sells her stuff in that store.
Do you know which, like, where closer to where the Macy's used to be?
No. It's on the side, across the street where the movie theater is. It's on the side. You know where the Forever 21 used to be?
Yes.
The big Forever 21?
Yeah.
It's in there.
Okay.
It's literally that old storefront is the store.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that. I didn't know what that was. It just seemed like it's almost kind of like the swap meet where there's different, like, people selling things in there.
It's like that. Do you know Nina? Do you know Nina's Organics? The girl that do the hair, the skincare and the hair care, her stuff is in there too. See, we listen, Juneteenth coming, we gotta talk about the black people stuff. So that was a quick plug for that.
Check it out.
And then after Juneteenth, somebody's birthday is this month. What you doing for your birthday?
It's my birthday. I'm actually going on a cruise.
Oh, you said that. Now where now again?
To Alaska. It's gonna be fun. I don't know. I'm assuming it's gonna be fun because I'm gonna make it fun. I've never been on a cruise before, but free food, count me in.
Okay,
access all the time. Oh, come on.
Listen, all you had to say was free food. Yesterday, Alonzo called. Hey, what you doing? Oh, I'm on my way home. You hungry? Huh?
I'm telling you.
Yes. He can say, okay.
About the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, but you say that for me. Give me some food.
I was so excited. And I said, okay. And he said, well, when you get home, let me know. No. How about you pick me up? I don't want to catch the bus. I'm gonna get off the train. You come get me. He's like, okay. Yeah. Tow up that Indian food. Tow it up.
Oh, is it Indian sweets? No.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
It is. I like them.
And I ordered what I ordered. He ordered what he ordered, but then he's throwing all this other stuff. I said, oh, can I have a samosa? He told the man, we need 4. I was like, I mean, literally, even the guy next to us in line was like, oh, 4? Ate all of them. So food, listen, my coworker, I guess she was at Trader Joe's. I know we are just not even talking about what we're supposed to be talking about. But anyway, I have to share this. Monday, I walk into my office and there's a bag of cookies. And my coworker said, oh, I was in Trader Joe's and I saw the vegan chocolate chip cookies. Girl, you should have seen my I was like, oh my God. So food, yes. I, now that you said that, you will have the best time in Alaska.
Absolutely.
What birthday is this?
Morning just to go get food.
We're going to be nosy. How old is you going to be?
Ooh, y'all going in. I am over 30, but under 50.
Okay.
Pick a number.
I can't even remember. I know you're younger than me, so.
But only by like 2 years, I think.
I don't know, child. We'll stick with that. I'll guess later. I don't know. I don't remember. 42. Are you 42?
I'm gonna keep my age, whatever you think I am. If I look 25, that's how old I am.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. All right. So the conversation for this evening, part 2, right? You were on that conversation. Dr. Calfani was there. I'm so used to calling her Dr. Calfani because I've been emailing her. She's on my dissertation committee. So all my emails are like, Dr. Calfani, Nomsa, was here last month, and we talked, and she added her insight. That is actually her area of expertise. So really grateful for that conversation. And it was a really good one. So one of the things that she talked about, that we're on a slippery slope, right? That is right now it's abortion access. Tomorrow it could be same-sex marriage. It could be birth control. That we need to be careful about how things are being legislated, because again, one day it's this, and you might not feel like it has anything to do with you, so you don't care. But then the next thing it'll be something that actually you care deeply about, and then you're like, oh my God, how did this happen? You weren't paying attention. And so as I reflected on that, I had seen an Instagram post by this person I follow called the Ignorant Intellectual. Love that page. And it was mentioned that upwards of 500 anti-LGBTQ bills have been introduced into state legislators across the country since the beginning of the year. Kind of scary. And it kind of reminded me of the whole idea of this slippery slope. And it kind of leads into the conversation around pride that we were going to have. We can have it now. So just wanted to touch on that again, and see if you have any additional thoughts about that, like slippery slope. It's this today, but it could be something else tomorrow.
I mean, I think when I first heard, about abortion being sort of overturned, that whole law being overturned, I was really confused and surprised by it, because I think people thought we were safe, right? Our president is Democrat, so we were sort of like, that couldn't happen. And literally, it just felt like right up under our noses, a freedom was snatched in a way that feels just very violating, because you just don't expect it. Like it was 2023. How can you think that something like that could even happen? So part of me feels like, yes, it's a slippery slope, and I think a lot of people are on edge because they feel that way as well. But I was reading this article, which I thought was kind of interesting, in the New York Times, and they were talking about, even though we feel that way, this is a bit like this whole the overturning of abortion is a bit of a gift, if you will, because what it did was expose the activists and the extremists for who they are. Because I think because we didn't really know that was even something that was possible, now that we see it and it's so blatant, and even people who are devout Catholics are like, that was a bit too much. And I think, after reading that, I was like, yeah, I guess that, there is some light there. Is it exposed people? So hopefully what that means is people will realize that this is something that is in their face and part of them. It's, even though you may not be, a person who needs an abortion, or you might be a man, like whatever it is, but you see how this relates to you. You can see how you have people who are representing you who aren't actually representing your causes, but saying that they are. And I think that is kind of an important acknowledgement.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that it's a little bit scary. I hate that for a lot of the stuff that is important in our lives, we have to wait for that moment of, oh crap. Like that's when people respond. And I hate that it's like that. The other thing, as you said, you talked about it kind of in a sense being a gift. It just, to your point, it reminded us something that Nomsa has also said, that, certain, Republicans or who, have this long game. Like, again, we're safe, but this whole time when we good, they were still working in the background. And to their credit, like maybe that's how we have to move. They move in silence and are very intentional about things, and it made us forget. And so they kind of caught us like, oops, oh, what?
I feel like there are these little things that are sort of like in movies where they're like, we'll create a, distraction. So they have a bomb go off over here while they're over there doing the real business. And I feel like with Republicans, sometimes that's what happens. Like there's this big drama about this very overt stuff that's happening. And then while you're not looking, oops, they passed a law, or oops, they did something that we weren't even like, it wasn't even on our radar,
At
I
all.
think that happens a lot. It's funny because I know my husband talks about this sometimes with Republicans and Democrats can be a bit soft on things. Like that's not something that they're not aggressive with their stuff. And as we're over here discussing these sort of, I want to say, more outlandish things where it's like, oh my gosh, how can you really be talking about this while you're dealing with that? Something else has, come through the loop and you didn't even notice that it was there. So I just feel like maybe this is an opportunity to now realize, hey, these are the people that you have, representing you. And now you need to pay attention to everything, to every little law that's going on, because you just never know what's going to come through those loopholes.
Yeah, and be very intentional. And I also wonder too about changing strategy. Again, like you said, we tend to be a little more like, well, while other people ain't. That's not how they thinking about stuff. Like, no, we don't want this, and then it's done. We don't want Black studies in our curriculum, right. And then it's gone.
That's the Democratic way. That's sort of the downfall, right? Is like we want to have everybody's vote, and we want to make sure we're appeasing everybody. And sometimes you just can't do that. Just like you do with the child. No, you can't have it. That's it. That's the end of the story. You can't have it. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's what Republicans do. They don't even care if their whole party is in agreement for something. They're just gonna do it.
You got a point about that.
They're just gonna do it. We'll talk about this, I'm sure, later. But those justices that banned abortion, the majority of them were Catholic. And the funny thing about that is, in an article that I was reading earlier, only 2/3 of Catholics believe in abortion. Like they're okay with abortion. So it's weird that they're sort of over here saying, yes, we are sort of representing, Catholics, and we're representing the religious aspect, when the religious aspect is like, no, we didn't say that. So who are you really representing? It's their own
ideologies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, because you have people in there who aren't doing what you are asking for.
Right. Which is weird. Okay. So I'm trying to think. Okay, which one to do? Father's Day? Well, not Father's Day. Fathers and their sort of stake in abortion, or eugenics? Which one you want to do next?
Well, let's go with fathers and wrap it all up with eugenics, because they're all involved in all of that.
Okay. All right. So I think I'm gonna say this. This is my opinion, and then you can be the back it up, refute, fine. I feel like a lot of times men either feel like they don't have a stake in the conversation around abortion rights, or they are silent for whatever reason. Like there's like nothing, or they feel like, well, this is not about me. It's not my body. I don't have anything to say. But I feel like there actually is a place. Now there's a specific place, right? Because ultimately that person's body, it's their choice to do what they want,
right?
Irrespective of what's happening. But I also feel like, here's my thought too, that quite a few men benefit from abortion access. Right. But again, they seem to be very silent, right, when it comes to advocating. So let's like dig into that and kind of parse through some of those conversations. And after we'll head to the break.
I think you're right. It's funny because as you were talking, these words kept coming to me. We talk about white privilege, but there isn't such thing as male privilege, regardless of what color you are. And I think what happens in this whole conversation about reproduction and whatnot, men can sort of just be in the background, right? Because all of the proof is on the woman. So if she gets pregnant, she's the one who's pregnant. Nobody knows who the dad is. They don't even know if you did something last night and got somebody pregnant. Like there was no way to show that for a man. And I think what happens is there's so much placed on the woman as a responsibility. So when we talk about birth control, the first thing they're gonna say is you on the pill, right? You on the pill, or what kind of things you doing, or who's gonna get your tubes tied. Like, why is that always at the forefront of the conversation? What about male, contraceptive? And I feel like that still has been lagging.
Yes.
So in this conversation about, reproductive justice, I just feel like there is a section of this where I feel like men need to step up and be supportive, because when they do sort of stand off to the side like that, what they're doing is not creating the energy that we need and the support that we need behind these issues. Because a woman obviously can't just say, hey, this is our body. We need men to support those bills and sort of speak to that, because I think it's important. Yes, they benefit from it. Obviously they benefit from it.
Absolutely. And and not to minimize conversations around men that wanted their children or and they
Absolutely.
have the so we're not really talking about that, because I could even say, even if that happened to a man, that he also has hey, but it ultimately is her choice, and so
Right.
let's support that, instead of I just have that sense of they're over there, this has
Mhm.
nothing to do with me. But like you said, we bear the burden. Some of these laws around, if a woman has an abortion, she can be charged with like
Right.
homicide. So why is that? I don't understand those types of the sentiments around those types of policies. I don't understand why women seem to be penalized when
Right.
damn, she did not get pregnant by herself. It didn't happen like that,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I'm actually interested in trying to figure out if there's more. Maybe if I need to start researching and see if maybe there are groups, men's, that are
I'm sure
interested
there
in that. I don't
probably
know.
are. Yeah. But I mean, there are two things. One, the way we can I feel like the way that we can address that and stop all of this and shut it down is make men pay child support as soon as conception, right?
That's
Because
what I said.
right, if we talking about a baby is a baby, then run me my money, and then I bet you men would say, you know what? I think abortion is okay, because you gonna have to start paying me as soon as I'm 8 weeks. Pay me my
And this,
money.
I heard somebody say that. They said that you should be able to buy life insurance on that baby.
Right, because if we're
Um,
considering it life,
I'm
why not?
yeah. And so it's like it's weird, because in some instances it's like this
Right.
thing is viable, it's boom, but then on the other hand it's not. Like, can I get the carpool lane? All these things.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly. Like, call
interesting.
it what it is.
And
If it's a spade, let's call it what it is. But that's kind of how law works. I feel like when it comes to politicians, they'll make a blanket law or a blanket statement, but then go off and do the same thing themselves and feel like, well, it's a caveat, right? Like, it's okay for me to do, but why are you doing these anti-abortion laws when you and your little side piece over here is
mistress.
having an abortion? Like, I don't understand that. But I feel like the conversation is really not a conversation about life. It isn't about life. If we want to say it's about life, cool, but it's not. It's a lie. The reason abortion started in the first place was it's funny because I was reading about this, is because most of people who did abortions back in the day were women who were unlicensed, just sort of some midwives or something like that, and most of them were Black. And I think the men who were now doctors, performing medical things and licensed, right? They have their medical license. I think they decided that they didn't want that work being taken away from them anymore. So they just wanted to control this
All
area.
of it.
So
All of it.
let's assert our maleness, I'll say, over this area of people who are doing this work. And because of that, they decided that they were going to ban abortions, because these were the only people who knew how to do them, because people weren't coming to doctors to get them done. They always got those done by other people. So it's really interesting to me that we keep having this conversation as if it's about life when it
Right.
really is not. It's not even rooted in that.
Well, especially because, and I'll say this if we go to commercial, especially because once that baby's born, it really ain't about it. They ain't worried about the baby at all.
No,
You can't
no,
get services, you can't get paid time off,
no.
all these. So it's like it can't be, because once
Right.
the child is here, everything sort of drops, and it's like, well, what happened?
Right. And that's the public health kind of concern about it, is that we keep talking about all of, well, abortion is bad, is abortion bad, but you don't make it easy for a woman to have a baby,
In the
right?
first
Like, I mean, if she's by herself, first of all, that's already a lot of stress on her, because I feel like, well, at least in California, you have to have 2 incomes to raise, a kid. It's way too expensive. I mean, you need to have transportation, you need to have, childcare, you need to have food, you need to have housing, and we know there's a housing crisis
Really
in
bad.
this state. So it's kind of like, what are you really trying to tell us? You love life, life deserves to be born. I think so, but that also means that you need to create a system, an infrastructure for that, and we don't have one.
Life, right? The rest of it, not just the
Right.
Yeah, so it's really crazy. All right, we're gonna take a break, and then we're gonna come back to the eugenics conversation, and then the graph that I had used to teach one of my classes. We'll talk about that, and then we'll be done.
Okay.
All right, quick show break.
This episode is sponsored in part by Bullet and Flight Radio. Get ready to uplift your spirit with Bullet and Flight Radio, the world's leading progressive Christian radio station. Experience the vibrant fusion of gospel house music and a rich medley of inspiration from all musical genres that'll make your heart soar. Join their extraordinary lineup of today's trailblazers, visionaries, and voices that matter, all sharing their stories and wisdom. Stay plugged in around the clock as they broadcast unmissable content 24/7. Your go-to station for all things inspiring. Become a pilot today by visiting bulletandflightradio.com. Bullet and Flight Radio. Your story, our station.
At that little picture of me, I was like, I need to start doing my hair like that again. And by the tree and let the wind blow.
Yeah, well, we've been having some wind with this weird weather.
It was raining. Was that Monday? It was raining.
Yes.
I said, wait a minute. What?
Yeah, this weather is trash. Got a little bit of sun today.
I don't even know because I didn't go outside. When I'm working from home, I don't go outside. Maybe I'll go look out there real quick for the sun go away. All right. Now, last episode, when we were on, I tried to throw this question out, but ran out of time. I was trying to pack it all in. Impossible. We got to talk about Margaret Sanger. We got to talk about eugenics. We got to talk about the Black community's very real fear, not unjustified, real fear of genocide. So in my studies, right, I'm in the literature, I'm in these journal articles, and I had been looking at sort of how the Black community has been failed by public health. And of course, Flint came up, the Flint water crisis. And there was a journal article where the guy was talking to young people in Flint about how they perceived what happened. And a lot of them used terms like genocide. And genocide, that example, Tuskegee syphilis, we tend to have this feeling, and I don't think it's unjustified, that there's some ulterior motive that folks are trying to eradicate us, right? As a people. And so I think for us, abortion, that conversation around abortion always brings that up. Like, y'all trying to kill us and our future generations. We don't want that ish. Hell no. How do we unpack that? Because it's real. Margaret Sanger was a eugenist. Is that the word? Eugenicist? Child, you know what I'm talking about. How do we unpack that?
It's interesting because obviously a lot of that is true. I have my book that I was telling you about right here, Medical Apartheid, right? Very difficult to sort of get through, where people have been experimenting on Black women so that they could learn how to do it correctly on their white counterparts. And I think it's a real question. I think when we talk about abortion, it's important to remember the thing that I would want to see, I guess, is more Black people in OB. Like, that's sort of where I could see us needing this, because we need our voices, we need our people, we need, folks to see us when we're in there. And I think one thing that comes out of this conversation is the importance of seeing us, in that area of medicine. The other thing is, when we talk about abortion, it's just kind of weird, because I understand, like, it's kind of ironic, right? We're talking about getting rid of babies, but people having an issue with banning abortions. So, what stance do you really want to take? So I think really what we're saying is we want to control our own bodies, because, again, in some of the literature that I was reading, the whole reason why abortion, came about, even though, it was controlled by sort of this group of white men, they really were trying to control their slaves. Because even when abortion was legal, slaves could not go and get an abortion. And you would be, punished if they found out that you'd gone to the backwaters, right, and got, some herbs or something from, the like witch doctor. And I feel like that's still a thing today. Like, they just, there's an idea out there that they just want to control Blackness, Black bodies, and what we do and where we go. And it's unfortunate, because I think that is part of the conversation. I think people need to be diligent about who they're going to see as far as their OB providers. I've had quite a few people tell me about some horror stories, and I'm like, what? Don't go to them. Don't go to somebody who does not look like you.
But that's hard to do.
It is. I mean, I know we're in California, so it's a little bit easier to do, but I know in other places you just can't really find a Black face like that. And the only thing that I would recommend is sort of like what we talked about on a previous show, is having a doula with you, having somebody there who is going to watch, because as you are in and out, of labor, sort of, you need to have somebody there that has your back, somebody who understands what the needs are and really understands what you don't need and what you do need. So if they're pushing medication on you, or they're pushing a C-section on you, that person can say no.
Right.
And tell them, hey, if this is something you really want to do, I need you to put that into the chart as to why you're saying that, because I feel like that kind of creates a bit of a boundary, like, oh, I got to write this down. Maybe I won't do it, helps people to listen. But it's an interesting conversation.
It is. And I think something that you said actually is, I think, the real key in the solution to addressing the issue. And I'm not going to pretend it's a one size fits all. I think there's going to have to be continuous conversations around this in our community. But the thing that you said that really stuck out to me is like, it's body autonomy. because in this country, we have not had the privilege of having body autonomy or control over our bodies. When we got here 400 years ago, we didn't have control over our bodies. Tuskegee, we didn't have control. They didn't give us the opportunity to make informed consent. Flint, who had a choice? The water was, you know, you live there. What are you supposed to do, right? You're sort of victimized in that way. And so I think the abortion or reproductive justice conversations in our community need to be about what you just said, body autonomy. How do we talk about reclaiming control over what we do? I think the conversations around things like vaccinations for us, you know, people like to say we're non-compliant because we refuse them. No, we are asserting our autonomy over our bodies that we have not had to have been able to have control over forever. You know, a woman just got shot and killed in Florida going to go see about her baby's thing. That's an example of not having control over your body. Somebody decides whether you live or die. So we don't have that. And so I think, even though, to your point, there is some irony in the fact that we're talking about this in relation to ending, you know, abortion, right? We still need to be to frame it in the way of body autonomy, and I think that's what will help people understand in our community what we're really talking about.
You want the choice. You want the choice to decide what you want to do, whether you want to do it or not. You want to have the choice to be able to do it. And it's funny because as you were talking, I was like, we still kind of, in a way, like where we live in certain places throughout this nation. I was watching a documentary and she was talking about, she was living next to this factory and the smells and the pollution and the toxins that it puts out, that a lot of the people around there have cancer. And she was a Black woman holding a Black baby. And I just kind of, that made me think about the neighborhoods, the communities that we live in, and how much pollution there is, how much, you know, toxins there are. You know, they can put us by freeways, you know, our schools are next to freeways and they're not even supposed to be. I mean, that's sort of what the law says, is you're not supposed to build these schools close. Right. And so I think, you know, even that, we don't even have autonomy over where we were, you know, so where can we live, because it's sort of built in a way that poor people, or a lot of times people of color, are sort of, you know, placed over here in those areas. You can live there, you know?
Oh yeah. And that goes back to a lot of stuff. Again, you know, I've been in this literature. I'm like, they said you was going to come out of this program, you're going to be an expert. Yes, I know all the things. The early days of public health, when we were building public health infrastructure in this country, public health and urban planning hand in hand. So what did they do to control population? If you're poor, you Black, you other, you over there. We put you over there. You know, we put you next to the trash heap because we don't want to see you. We create restrictive covenants. You can't live past this block. We don't want to see you. And so, yeah, there's all those ways that we do that. And so I think the body autonomy conversation is going to be huge and maybe an important topic when we talk about things like abortion access and reproductive justice in Black communities. So I'm glad we kind of, because that helped me. I'm like, you said it. That's it. That's the answer. I mean, I don't know if it's a full answer, but it's an important talking point. So our last question, or last conversation point, really, I wanted to talk a little bit about the relationship between abortion and maternal mortality rates. And what prompted that is, Kwame has this graph, and I hope it's not too bad looking on screen, but it says that in states with abortion rates that are with more abortion restrictions, maternal mortality rates are higher. So you'll see, for example, California, we have fewer abortion restrictions, and so our maternal mortality rates are lower. But if you look on this chart, you'll see Louisiana, Texas, Georgia, those states have more restrictive abortion policies, and so their maternal mortality rates are higher. And I remember thinking, like, how is that? Like, I don't even understand how that works. We're talking about abortion. And I wanted to read this because, again, I used some of this stuff when I was teaching, and then we can kind of talk through it. So Romania, I forgot where Romania is, but we're going to talk about Romania right now. Abortion was legal there until 1966, when Nicolae Ceausescu became president, and he outlawed it along with contraception. So no abortion, no contraception. He said, I want to increase the number of native-born Romanians. He was like, I want y'all to be fruitful and multiply, baby. We got, So women were forced to get pelvic inspections at work, and then police informers roamed maternity hospitals, and performing abortions was a crime. As a result, the birth rate in Romania went up for a couple of years. It did, we can't end abortions. We ain't got no contraception. And then in 1970, it went into a free fall. So it dropped. Deaths from complications resulting from attempted illegal abortions increased to 10 times that of the rest of Europe. Okay, so Romania is in Europe, my bad. About 500 women a year. More than 10,000 women over 2 decades. The maternal mortality rate spiked to 150 women per 100,000 births. Today, when the U.S. has the worst maternal mortality rate in the industrialized world, it's only a sixth of that. So we're not even there, but I mean, we could get there. So what happened is in 1989, they sort of changed things and the numbers improved. The maternal mortality rate went down. So can you see something like that happening here? Like,
absolutely. I mean, I think in California, it might be a little bit more difficult, and that's sort of, I feel like we live in a place that's a little bit more supportive about certain things. Because 2 things that I think of when it comes to banning abortion, what you do is put women at risk for going to get these sort of backdoor abortions, which already is going to create issues for them. It's going to create women who now they're not pregnant anymore, but now they have all of these poor health outcomes from having got that done, and maybe they didn't have the right anesthesia, or maybe it was a dirty hanger, whatever they're using. The other thing I feel about that is those states that are banning abortions are probably already states that I feel like don't really give the most support anyway. So now you're taking away this woman's opportunity to get an abortion if she needs it, and not backing it up with support that they need when they have that baby, because there is a such thing as increasing infant mortality the more babies you have, right? Like you just keep having babies because you have no way of having an abortion, and maybe you don't have access to birth control, because the laws out there aren't the greatest for that either. Because if you're banning abortion, your access to birth control is probably pretty low as well. So I feel like there's 2 things going on. One, when you have an increase in backdoor abortions, you're going to have an increase in infant mortality no matter what, and deaths, and all of that stuff. But you also have those states that are already sort of wanting to ban abortion or already banning abortion. I feel like those states already have poor support systems for women who have babies. So now you're just creating more of a surplus of women who have poor health outcomes, and now they have maybe a lot more children. And what are they going to do with that? There's such thing as needing an abortion because maybe the pregnancy is not viable or whatnot, or maybe this is this woman's 6th kid and she just had a baby however many months ago. It's dangerous having a kid.
Dangerous, and it puts people in the economic situation. Their money ain't right, all kinds of things. So I just got the time. We ain't got 2 minutes left, so I want to say this one thing and kind of share a contrast. They talked about Nepal, that's in India, legalized abortion in 2002. And over the next decade or so, 1,200 clinicians learned to provide abortions, and 500,000 women got them. The maternal mortality rate dropped from 360 to 107 per 100,000 live births. And now the number of abortion complications went up, along with total hospital admissions and total live births. The number of serious complications went down. So that's an example of the opposite, where when abortion access is there, we actually make things a little bit better for the health of women. So I gotta cut it. We gotta go. But thank you, Dr. Nurse.
Of course.
I need a t-shirt like that. I need to figure it out how to get thank you so much for joining me again. next month, I'm going to have some doctoral students. I want to do a sisterhood of the doctoral students trying to get through, the Black women trying to make it. So I'm going to have that conversation next month. It'll be so exciting. Thank you again for being here. Thank you all for watching. You know where to find me. I have a website, www.nicoledvick.com. I have 2 books, Pushing Through, Finding the Light in Every Lesson, and Push Through 52 Weeks of Light in Tough Times. Follow me on social media, the TikToks, the Instagram, the Facebook, the LinkedIn. Everything is Nicole D. Vick. And I'll see you next week for the recap, y'all. But again, next month, I want to bring on some doctoral students. We're going to talk about the struggles of, school and the importance of us as sisters getting together and supporting each other. So if you're considering school, come watch us next month and see what we talk about. We can help you out there. All right, y'all. Thanks again, Dr. Nurse, and see y'all. Bye.
You're welcome. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Woo!
Happy Father's Day.
If you enjoyed this content, be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to Pyro Media Network's YouTube channel for more awesome content. Plus, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss when we go live or upload new videos. Visit pyromedianetwork.com today, not just to check out our incredible roster of talented creatives, but also to gain access to exclusive bonus material available only to our Pyro fam. Show your support for this Black-owned indie network by donating today. Help us keep igniting brands everywhere.